So welcome everybody to the Om meditation. We're on HUATH or Hawthorn. And so this brings us into the first tree of the second acme, the second tribe of trees. The ones we started with, what is it, 5 to the right, now we're 5 to the left. So if you can see here, there's the hawthorn. Oh, it's a little fuzzy. Does that make it a bit better? But you can see there's one little line going off to the side. This is the image from The Voice of the Trees, which is Mickey Mueller. And so that's who we're going to meditate with today. I'm just going to open up here to see if there's so it's, the letter is H, and the divining charm that she has is, and it describes the image which is on the card. A pack of wolves by tooth and claw brings fear of harm, your sword to draw. Do not pale. You may stand or take flight. The sun will rise after a difficult night. The sun will rise after a difficult night. So I'm going to invite you to, I'm going to put the image up of Hawthorn and just, hey, there she is. There's Nicole. If you would like to turn your cameras off while we meditate, that's totally fine. And it'll just be the, let's see here. Share screen. So, although this may be differently reflected from what you are experiencing in your neck of the woods at this time, I really love this image. This is, the holy thorn, the hawthorn. In Glastonbury, you can see the tor in the background. It does not look like that now because it was very tragically vandalized. But it's coming back as well. And so I thought that certainly from an Avalonian perspective with that beautiful tor in the background, that it was a good image to work with. So start to focus on your breath. We're going to open ourselves to connecting with the first of the thorns that we encounter in the Om, the hawthorn. Though she may be so traditionally associated with May, this is the first day of Hawthorn through the Yuri Leitch Om Grove reflection. So focus on your breath. Drop your breath deep into your belly. Feel the expansion of your diaphragm as you inhale, and the contraction as you exhale. Paying attention to any place in your body that you might be holding tension. And releasing that tension. Bringing yourself fully to the here and the now in this space with the holy thorn. Be open to her energies, and be open to any messages. Allow a journey to unfold. awareness once more back to your breath. And just take some final moments with Hawthorn, being open to any final reflections. And thank Hawthorn for the journey and for the insights, bringing your awareness once more back to your breath and following the flow of the inhale and the exhale, particularly paying attention to the exhale, following that flow as it brings you out of that inner landscape and back into the world, the place in which you sit. And when you're ready, take one last deep breath. Open up your eyes. And so I'll keep the recording going just while we chat for a little bit. I'm going to share just some thoughts and invite you to share thoughts on the recording if you'd like to with the people who will be watching it afterwards. So it's interesting. I don't know if anybody heard the dogs. Okay. Everybody heard the dogs. It's happened a couple of times, and it's, but it's funny because usually they'll, somebody delivered something that was a little bit of a bark, and then they usually settle down, but there were some beans in the air today, so some mischief happening I'm not really sure about. It certainly did, I would say, for me, remind me, because this is an otherworldly tree, and especially with that gazing upon the hawthorn that was gazing upon the tor, it certainly did feel like, the coonanoon that were barking around the base of that entrance. So that's where I went with it anyways. Hello, Nicole. You look like you're skiing. No. So, yeah, I'll share. So I found myself, in truth, I was sort of looking at Hawthorn, and then I found myself gazing out, just because there's so much pastoral happening, and I was watching the bunnies chase each other, and all of that sort of felt like connection to Hawthorn. They say that Hawthorn makes really good hedgerow, that it can, it just weaves very tightly together, and so it can be this protection of keeping things out, or stop you from going in, or protecting that which is within. And I certainly have this sense of I think, was it this morning? I can't remember if it was this. No, it was yesterday morning. Coming around a corner. Now this was, of course, not Hawthorn, but it's fairly similar in protection wise, in prickliness. These bunnies just like taking off and diving under the branches to serve as that protection. And so that was sort of that sense that I was having of the role that it's playing in the landscape, as well as that sense of, as I said, that looking out over the tor, the holy thorn, and just all of these different ways that we can have find entrance to the other world. There is in some of the notes, and I put this up on the aisle. It's up on the aisle already in the Lorekeeper roundhouse on the Sacred Grove, but I'll bring it up to the top of the discussions again. where is it that, well, there is a saying that says, beware the oak, it courts a stroke, beware the ash, it courts a flash, creep under the thorn, it will save you from harm. And where is it? I thought oh yeah, it says, yeah, although hawthorns are found, this is from Steve Blamires' Celtic Tree Mysteries. Although hawthorns are found growing on fairy hills, placed there by the fairies as a warning for humans, you do not use hawthorn as an entrance into the other world. And so I thought that was sort of interesting in that the Tor is also another entrance to the other world as well. And so just in that very close proximity of ways that we can gain access and entrance, and other ways of having care around. The other thing is, there's a translation of HUATH, which means terror. So although there's this sort of beauty and delicacy with hawthorn and the whitethorn, the flowers, there is a sharpness and there is a caution, and there is almost this energy of the gift of spirit that comes through challenge. That Steve Blamires also says, use hawthorn to increase and improve your spiritual aspirations through understanding the reason behind your suffering. So hawthorn is not an easy tree to work with, but it does offer this entrance into truly deep wisdom and spiritual understanding, if one is able to perhaps pierce through what the terror or the challenge is all about. So those are just some of the energies that I was working with or flowing with in the meditation while I was gazing out at the bunnies that were running from chasing each other from one end of the field to the other. So I'm actually going to, I'll open it up. If anybody would like to, you can put a little hand, raise a hand, or do the handprint thing. If anyone wants to share on the recording so that others can hear it as well. And if not, I will stop the recording. Lori, did you want to say something? You look unmuted.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to talk on the recording.
Awesome.
Hawthorn, according to Yuri Leitch, is my home tree. My birthday is within her cycle, and I planted two of them when I first moved here. Those of you that don't know, I steward some land for wildlife along a river, and I planted two of them when I moved here 11 years ago. I planted one right out in front by my driveway and another one down towards the bottom of the trail. And not really understanding hawthorn much at all. And they've been teaching me a great deal since then. One is the one up front here by the driveway. There've been a little bit of hostilities because I'm seen to be way too protective of my land. Other people think that they should be able to run snowmobiles and things like that through here, and I tend to stand in their way on that, and half the neighborhood agrees with me, and so whoever tries it gets ratted on and gossiped about in the neighborhood, and it's not all my doing anymore. And so there's a little resentment by some of the more testosterone filled snowmobile and four-wheeler riders. Anyway, hawthorn prevents them from coming into my drive, and also from coming up the trail. There's definitely a protective element there. The one in front by the driveway, though, I planted within the drip line of a really big silver maple, and those of you that know maples, they take a lot of water and a lot of light. And so there's not a lot left over for anybody else underneath maples. In fact, usually grass won't even grow under them. But this maple and this hawthorn have found a way. And I noticed that the maple has died back in the branches over the hawthorn, so she gets as much light as she needs. And And there's a thriving going on with the hawthorn, which is just lovely to see. I was telling you earlier that I was doing some tinctures with her berries. Rosemary Gladstar, who I really respect in the herbal world, if you're doing beginning herbalism, she's the place to start. But she suggests using the twigs and the leaves and the flowers and the berries of the hawthorn for a tincture to collect it all year round.
Mm.
But I have talked to this hawthorn. She finds that disrespectful, and this gets to that barbed part of her personality. She freely gives her berries, but to take her blossoms away from her and her ability to create those seeds for her regeneration, and also from the bees, and she needs her leaves for her own sustenance through the year, she finds it disrespectful. And so I spend a great deal of time admiring her instead of clipping her or snipping her or doing any other harmful act. I honor her and I respect her. And I think that's really her point of, she's about heart. I mean, she's a heart tonic. That's why we make tinctures from her berries. She helps our heart feel strong and broad. She's about that divine feminine, which is our true heart, our heart and soul, who it is that we're here to, why we reincarnated for this lifetime. What is our purpose? She helps with that. She strengthens my heart. She strengthens who I am, who I know I am. And we refine that every year as we chat. Let's see. Yeah. I think that's what I have. That's what I think she's taught me right now. So
Awesome.
enough about me and Hawthorn.
Love it. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Yeah, and I think there is that too, as you were saying, that, there's, what we learn often and the strength that we come into learning, it often is because, our hearts break. And then in the healing of that, we come to the learning, and we come to the resilience, and we come to what our strength is, and that she can support that.
Yeah, and to add to that too, I'm with you on that, Tiffany. There's also this point of her. I mean, I would never give her tincture to someone who has heart problems. She can kill them. And the woman I learned herbalism from always said, you have to know how to be able to kill to be able to heal. And there is that, and that is the divine feminine. It is both. It is both life, death, and regeneration. And I think Hawthorn talks about that in understanding where to put our vital energy and how to treat others with respect.
Yeah,
Don't mess with her.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? It's I'm gonna put my mind to this, but the trees that are specifically associated with the other world and as bridges to the other world, I think do speak to that, life and death, death in life, and the cracking open and the healing that happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, even that huge maple doesn't mess with her. I mean, that says something, because that maple messes with everybody.
Yeah, love it. Anyone else who wants to share before I will stop the video? So I'm going to say thank you for everybody who is watching it on the recording, and enjoy the sometimes challenging, sometimes sharp, but always magical moments with Hawthorn.